Let's bring in Dave Levinthal. He is a senior political reporter at the Center for Public Integrity, all right? That is a nonprofit investigative journalism organization whose stated mission is to reveal abuses of power, corruption, and dereliction of duty by powerful public and private institutions in order to cause them to operate with honesty, integrity, accountability, and to put the public first. Sounds like me. You said you steal that from me, Dave? That's what I do. Anyway, we wanted Dave, who follows us very closely, to kind of handicap. So I think President Trump wants to be reelected. Do you?
President Trump's been running for re-election, and this is the truth, since the day of his inauguration bill. He filed paperwork with the Federal Election Commission, which allowed him to raise money for his 2020 bid as he was taking the oath of office. And it wasn't just a ceremonial thing or a technical thing. He's actively been raising millions of dollars every single month ever since he was inaugurated. And in very practical terms, he has started the campaign again, quite literally from the day he became president of the United States. So that's changed the equation in two ways. It's allowed him to run for re-election for 4 full years instead of 2 years or a little less than that. And it's caused the Democratic field to move more quickly than maybe they otherwise would have.
I agree 100%. The only thing that could derail it is the special prosecutor Mueller. And of course, this week we had the plea deal with Flynn, Michael Flynn, a former President Trump's national security advisor. But here's the interesting thing. If you watch cable news, and I do not recommend that for anyone, they don't know what they're talking about because I don't know what I'm talking about. Nobody knows what Flynn told Mueller. He met with special counsel's people 19 times. Got to be a lot of discussion there, but nobody knows. But here's the key to it. If Mueller had evidence that Flynn committed a heinous crime, he could not recommend no prison time for Mueller. Could not do it. That would be against all the ethical obligations that a special counsel has. That is a fact. And the only fact, David, that I have in the whole thing, that if Mueller knew, based upon conversations with Michael Flynn, that Flynn did something terrible in the election, 2016, he couldn't say to the court, don't give him any jail time. Big thing for President Trump, is it not?
So it's a huge thing for President Trump. And Michael Flynn is somebody who was pretty close to him and that he had a lot of nice things to say about. And there are people like Michael Cohen, his former lawyer, who was with him through his business years, through his campaign years, through his presidential years, who also could be a major problem. I mean, Bill, this is an enigma wrapped in a mystery, wrapped in a riddle in the biggest of ways. And how this actually plays out in reality for the nation, of course, but also for Donald Trump as a candidate running for re-election, unless you have some sort of clairvoyance, you're not going to be able to.
But people need to know that Mueller is directly tied into Trump's re-election campaign. If Mueller's report comes out and says Trump didn't do anything, that helps Trump immeasurably. If Mueller has evidence that Trump did something, that's going to hurt him. Going to hurt Trump. Now, Trump's 42% base probably won't buy it, but Donald Trump needs 7 or 8% more to win re-election. So Mueller and Trump are tied, just like Wall Street and the economy are tied together, and that's why it's very important. Now, I have in my hand, David, I don't know, and you probably saw this Harvard-Harris poll taken November 26, 27. 459 registered voters, small sample. Only Democrats and independents were surveyed. So who do you want to run against Donald Trump? 25% Biden. Bernie Sanders second, 15%. I believe Bernie Sanders has no shot whatsoever. Do you concur?
Well, first of all, Bernie Sanders would have to become a Democrat again to run in a Democratic primary. He's an independent. Right. And that's something that it turned a lot of Democrats off to him and made them go the way of Hillary Clinton and a way large enough to get her and vault her to the nomination in 2016. So Bernie Sanders is always going to have a very, very passionate base. But is that base going to be any more than 20, 25, maybe 30% of the Democratic primary electorate? Something major would have to happen for that math to change, particularly when you have a field, Bill, which is going to be at minimum a dozen candidates strong, could even look like the 2016 Republican side of the equation.
Right, there are so many. But I'm going to submit to you that the Democrat establishment will never allow Bernie Sanders to get the nomination. All right, in third place is Hillary Clinton, 13%. Mrs. Clinton desperately wants to be president. I don't see it happening, but maybe I'm wrong.
What's interesting about that survey is, let's take those top three names, okay? Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden. What do they all have in common? They have name recognition. So right. People at this juncture, so far out, we're a little less than 2 years from Election Day 2020, they're going to go with the people who they know. And those are the people who are household names, are known commodities. Beto O'Rourke was not somebody who was really highlighted too much in the survey, but I think you could throw him into the mix, even though he is no longer going to be a member of the U.S. House. He didn't win in his Senate bid against Ted Cruz, but somebody who raised an incredible amount of money, really, in a way, ran a national candidacy, even though he was running for the U.S. Senate in Texas, was able to get a type of energy that you just simply never see with a U.S. Senate candidate, whether they're a Republican or a Democrat.
Yeah, Beto O'Rourke is 9% in the Harvard-Harris poll. I don't know him. Seems to be pretty far left. But, yeah, they like him. So then you got Elizabeth Warren at 4, Cory Booker 3, Kamala Harris 2. They're all the same. Warren, Booker, and Harris, no difference. Very, very far left individuals. I don't think they have a chance to get the nomination. Do you agree?
Well, it's hard to tell at this point because none of them have really made the case at a national level, or for that matter, on a very micro retail politic-y kind of level in Iowa and New Hampshire and South Carolina.
But overall, David, can you imagine that people are going to vote for any of those? I mean, Booker and Harris killed themselves in the Kavanaugh hearing, just destroyed themselves. I'm talking about non-ideological people. I'm not talking about crazy left-wing people or crazy right-wing people. Just the regular folks that decide elections. They're going to vote for them. Now, Michael Bloomberg, he's another. Now, Michael Bloomberg's going to run. He doesn't need any money. He was successful being the mayor of New York City. I think Bloomberg's more of a threat than Booker, Harris, or Warren to get
potentially.
It. Yeah.
You might have somebody like the governor of Washington State, Jay Inslee, who comes in and makes some noise. You could have some other folks who are really kind of floating below the radar, like a Amy Klobuchar up in Minnesota.
Nah, these people aren't. They're not going to do it. People don't know them, as you said. There's no name recognition. No way they can get it. I mean, we got Governor Cuomo here in New York. You get Gavin Newsom, the new governor in California. They've got a base, a big state behind them. But right now, to me, it looks like Biden. Biden wants it. I think the Democratic establishment is going to go with Biden. That's what I think.
If you're looking for somebody who's going to be a front runner immediately, Biden, absolutely. There's plenty of historical precedent, though, for a dark horse candidate or an unknown person
Barack Obama
at a national level to come in. So
right.
I wouldn't rule out people who might not be known nationwide, but could make a strong case for themselves.
Well, Trump, all these names he would love to run against. Biden would give him the most trouble of all of them. Hey, David, I really appreciate you taking the time. Check in with us if you see any of these dark horses starting to rise, okay? Keep an eye on O'Rourke, and please check in with us from time to time. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.